It's 88.5, the SoCal Sound. We're in the pledge drive right now, and the phone number is 833-885-8850. It's crucial that you call, and if you do, and you join up and you become a member, then we can keep doing cool things the year round. And one of the cool things that we do is sometimes we've got some guests to pop by and spend a little bit of time with us. I know you know this next guest. Jenny Lewis has come by to say, hey, how are you?
Hello, hello. Doing great. It's great to be back in the Valley.
You are no stranger to the Valley. Spent a lot of your formative years all here?
Oh, I grew up in Van Nuys, went to Van Nuys High,
Wow.
Van Nuys Junior High, Kester Avenue Elementary. And I was just saying that I remember my jelly shoes melting to the asphalt when I was a kid playing jump rope.
Today's one of those days. 94 degrees out there. Is everything coming back? It's all washing over you?
It's all coming back to me.
Let's get this stuff out of the way right at the top. A new album is fantastic. It's called Joy Y'all. It's out now. The latest single, Cherry Baby, we've been playing playing several times a day. We really like it. Happy to play it. We had to take the dirty word out. But, otherwise, happy to play it.
There's only one.
There's only one.
Which is pretty good for me.
Yeah, and don't say what it is now because we don't have a delay.
Oh, no.
It kind of a cha-cha-cha rhythm with that one. 1, 2, cha-cha-cha. It's a fun rhythm on that one.
Thank you. The fabulous drummer in Nashville, Nate Smith, played drums on the record. One of the best jazz drummers around right now. So that's his groove.
Yeah, we know you are in cahoots with a number of really good drummers. I'll talk about that in just a second. But the tour, I also want to mention this right off the top. You go November 27th out to Ventura. You're going to play there, and then you're up and down the coast, and you wind up at the Palladium on December 8th. But right now, we've got tickets for the Observatory show, December 6th. They're sitting in the website waiting for someone to grab these right now. We've got a couple of pairs of them. 833-885-8850, or you can go to the SoCalSound.org and grab those there. And put in a message for Jenny. While I'm right here, I can just tell her. She's right there.
A very special guest, which we haven't announced yet, for the Observatory show. So bonus, it's going to be an incredible show, and the support for the entire tour is amazing.
Awesome. Nice. We're breaking news here this afternoon as well. You're having fun out there, aren't you, playing the new music for everybody?
I am. I'm sort of living in the past and the present. I just completed a 20-year anniversary for the Postal Service.
Right.
Album Give Up. So it's just been the entirety of my career every night on stage, kind of reliving
this
all
is
the
your
moments.
life?
Yeah, all the moments in between. And I've always gone back and forth between side projects and my band and my solo work. So it's pretty cool to wrap that up and then head back out on the road for to play the Joy All songs, which thank you for saying that properly, because some people say Joy All.
Well, I'm a hillbilly. I'm from Indiana, so that's the vernacular as far. Going back a little bit, we were talking off the air just before we started with this. The last album on the line, you had some songs on there where you had people that are patron saints of this radio station, Ringo Starr. And Ringo and Barbara, they're doing a match right now, by the way. While we sit here, every dollar that comes in is being matched dollar for dollar by Ringo and Barbara, which is amazing. But you have the people, you seem to be like a collector of people. People want to be around you because I think they find you authentic and they like collaborating with you. Just on that last album, Ringo, Jim Keltner, I mean, those are two of the best drummers walking the earth right now. And Beck and who else? Ben Montench, who also has done benefits for this radio station over the years with the Heartbreakers. You seem to be an easy person to be around, and people want to play with you. Am I just imagining that? Because it's certainly what it seems like from the outside.
Well, I'm pretty chill in the studio, and I've been so lucky to play with some of the most amazing musicians in the world in some of the most incredible studios. We cut on the line at Capitol, Studio B. I've worked at Sunset Sound out in the Valley, Sound City, and I recorded the newest record at RCA Studio A in Nashville, which is another just historic landmark, incredible. So I'm just trying to take it all in and learn as much as possible from the greats. You know, you mentioned Benmont, who is one of the most incredible studio musicians in the world. Just on the fly, he played the solo for Head's Gonna Roll, a song from my last record, and it's just absolute perfection.
It's so great, yeah. The album from start to finish, you can tell these people, a few more lessons, they're really going to have it.
And we're road dogs. We speak the same language. We're in the same crew. You know, our lifestyles are similar and different at the same time, but we can relate to one another, and it's very, I feel, at ease in their presence.
We're talking to Jenny Lewis right now here on 88.5 The SoCal Sound. We're having our pledge drive, so don't hesitate. While you're listening, go on the website, thesocalsound.org, and make a donation. That would be very much appreciated. I've been playing your music for a long time on the radio. This is the first time I've actually gotten to speak with you, though. So forgive me if I'm asking basic questions, but you're mentioned it at the top. You're a local. This is you still live here in Southern California. That's basically your entire life. You were born in Vegas, is that right? And then very young you came here.
Born in Vegas. My parents had a lounge act. When my parents split up, we moved to Van Nuys across from Valley College, where I was discovered by a child actor agent when I was 3 years old.
Wow.
And then I supported my family. We lived in the Valley until I turned 17, and then I went over the hill and ended up coming back and finding a home back in the Valley. But I'm splitting my time between LA and Nashville as of about 5 years ago, which has been really cool to go experience the Midwest and the South. But then when I come home, I really feel like I'm at home.
Yeah, well, your hand has been stamped a long time ago. You're a local. We refer to you as a local. So it seems like to me, and again, I'm a hillbilly from Indiana. I was old enough to vote before I rode on a jet plane. And you, on the other hand, you were born into, you just said, a show business family. You were born in the entertainment capital of the world, and then moved to the other entertainment capital of the world. It seems like you've kind of traveled really close to the sun. From my perspective, for a long part of your life. Do you think that has been a blessing in your life? Do you think it's been a curse? Do you think it's been a mixture of both? Or is it the only life that you've ever known and wouldn't trade it for anything? How do you look back at it?
Well, I think the latter. I am from 3 generations of showbiz people, vaudeville and Vegas, and music is the thread and the ups and downs of being, a working class musician like my parents. And my dad ended up in Anchorage, Alaska, playing in bars up there. So yeah, I wouldn't know it any other way. And at least I don't have to have a straight job, which I've never had a straight job.
Never, ever.
Never, ever.
Well, you've worked as much as you wanted to. I mean, look at your, IMDb credits, and I don't know anybody that was in both Murder, She Wrote and Roseanne, or Baywatch and the Golden Girls. That's pretty incredible. And all of those credits, looks like you could have worked as long as you wished to as an actor. But you started making music at some point with the band Rilo Kiley. Answer this for me. Do you remember the first time you heard one of your songs on the radio?
Oh, dear. Well, it must have been a college radio station. And when the band Rilo Kiley started, we'd tour all over, and they would have us in, and we'd do sessions, and they'd play our 7 inches in records. So early on, getting that privilege through, public radio and college radio stations. Yeah.
How important is public radio to you and people like you for the craft that you ply?
I mean, it's incredibly important. I wouldn't be here without public radio. And for me, just what I input, wherever I am in the country, if I'm driving around, I find the college radio station, and I know I can be in touch with what's happening. Yeah. And hear some cool tunes and hear some news. It's very, very important to me.
We're talking to Jenny Lewis right now. It's the thing that I hear over and over, from Joe Walsh, from Ringo Starr, other, people like you, is they don't listen to this radio station to get a dopamine rush from hearing their music. They listen to it to get turned on to other things, and it's that window, isn't it? And I always think of it as it's the fountain of youth. It's the way to keep the worms off by always allowing yourself to get turned on to new stuff. Then you don't grow old. You don't get into a ditch.
My sister Leslie, who is also from the Valley, and she has the station on 24/7, and it's always on. And she's always calling me and saying, "Hey, have you heard this person? Have you heard? Oh, I just heard you on the radio." And so it's very important to the Lewis girls. So thank you so much. We love this station.
That's awesome. Donate in honor of a Lewis girl right now. 833-885-8850. The phone lines are open down the hall. Also, you can go online and peruse everything that's on offer there, the SoCalSound.org. And thank you again for coming by during a pledge drive. This is kind of an odd duck. This isn't, just a session. It's not just an interview. You appreciate that this is a crucial time for this radio station in order for us. It's an existential matter for us to be able to continue to do what we do. So thank you for coming here and putting some wind in our sails. It really means a lot to all of us. Going back to something you said a second ago, talking about performing your entire life. From when you're a toddler, you're acting, and then your 20s, you're in a band, and you've been making albums now for all of this time. I know that it affects everyone that comes through these doors, the pandemic, when COVID hit, but not all of those people were performing, were in entertainment all of their lives. You never knew anything other than that. You've always been doing it. Was it particularly tough when everything closed down, that you couldn't get together and make music with friends? You couldn't go out and play music for people. How did that hit you?
Well, I was in a fortunate position in that I didn't have to work for a year and a half, so I was able to stay home. And to be honest, when you're a performer, there's always this little bit of underlying anxiety if you have a show coming up. So for the first time in my life, that anxiety went away. And I really did feel like I was off the hook in a way. And I was still writing at home and gardening and taking care of myself in ways that I wasn't able to do while being on the road for 20 plus years. Right. So for me, it was a very regenerative time and a very important moment for me to kind of, be grateful for all the things that you don't get to do when you're touring for your entire life.
Yeah, that makes sense. I was just talking to someone the other day about, there was a quote from Jack Lemmon. Somebody asked him about, do you still get butterflies before you go out on stage every night? And he said, oh, yeah. The day I don't want to do this anymore. Then it's not going to be exciting to me. Kind of the same thing happens, when you go from being in a band to being solo. When you're in a band, sometimes I guess everybody's maybe not rowing in the same direction. Sometimes everybody's not in the same boat. But when you don't call all of the shots, there has to be some sort of decision making, some consensus. When you go out on your own, you are the boss. But then you do also you're on the hook, to use your term. You are responsible for everything that happens creatively. That's I would imagine that while it's maybe a yoke to carry, it also is it's the crucible that art comes out of, that other creative things come out the other end.
Well, I'm fortunate in that I get to do both. I get to go be a part of the Postal Service and play the Hollywood Bowl and be in a very collaborative situation. And then I get to go do my shows and decorate the stage and design all the merch and do all of the aesthetic stuff, which I love, creating a vibe and having total control over the way something looks and feels, and the album art and the photos. That stuff is really important to me, just the art surrounding the music.
By the way, the art on the album, we had a copy of the album here somewhere, on Joy Y'all. The art is fantastic.
Oh, thank you.
Like on the back, it's like a whole bunch of different little cameos or postcards for each of the songs and so forth. So you have a hand in all of that. That is not someone who comes with designs. You say, I have a vision for this, and you really are hands-on with every facet of it.
Oh, yes, every single corner. I'm lucky I get to collaborate with amazing artists like Mama Hot Dog, Bobby Rich, who shot the cover and made my video for my single Psychos.
Nice.
But yeah, I am completely immersed in the art, and every single T-shirt is something that I've come up with, and yeah, it's just so fun, and it just keeps going. And now I just, have to write a bunch of songs again.
You have to start all over again.
Start all over again.
When we get an album, this album, I'm sure that this album took a year or more for it from, okay, I'm going to do it, to finding someone to collaborate with, perhaps to produce, and finding those windows of availability of people you want to work with, all of the art and all of that stuff. People don't realize, I think, sometimes everything, the lead up to something like this. This could have started a year and a half or more ago. Now, are we already, when you go and do sound checks, are you working on songs for future albums? Is that process already in motion?
Well, I wrote Psychos from Joy All in 2019.
Wow.
And yeah, the album took years to put together. And then once it was finished, it took another year to actually come out into the world. So at that point, I'm always thinking of the next batch of songs. So I've got about 4 or 5 that I'm working on. I'm working on a Christmas song.
Awesome.
That should be pretty cool. That I've been writing in the Fashion Square Mall. There's this massage spot on the 2nd floor, and every time I go in there to get my shoulders rubbed, I work on this Christmas song in my mind. So I'm chipping away at it, and a couple of other ones. And yeah, it's just a never-ending process.
Not to light a fire under you, but you do know that Christmas is coming.
Oh yeah, it's almost Christmas.
Are we going to have it in time for this Christmas?
I mean, I have to go back to the mall to figure it out.
Well, good luck with it. We're talking to Jenny Lewis right now at 88.5 the SoCal Sound. It's important. It's not just important, it's crucial that we have your support. You can go to the SoCalSound.org. We were talking about how this radio station and stations like it across the country are so important for artists like Jenny and all artists that, well, if you want to play new music, because corporate radio just wants to play the stuff that's risk averse and the stuff that the bean counters say it's okay. If you want to continue to be able to hear music from Jenny, new music when Ringo Starr puts it out, then this is a station you want to get behind with your donations at the SoCalSound.org. We talked about acting. We talked about the band. It's like, to me, it seems that you've lived lifetimes. Like you had a childhood that was very interesting, an adolescence, and a young adulthood, and now another young adulthood, going out and playing, all of these shows and playing whatever you want. What are some of the lifetimes that might be to come? I mean, a Michelin star chef. What are things that are still on your list to do creatively or otherwise? Is there anything? Is there another itch to scratch?
Well, I am most driven by the song, so that has always been my main focus. But I'm working on a screenplay, my first screenplay, and people keep asking me to write a memoir. And so that, I think once I finish my screenplay, then I'll be able to open the channel to my entire life, which is, the big question is, where do you start with a memoir?
Right.
From the very beginning, like, Van Nuys Boulevard?
Yeah.
Where do you begin? So, yeah, I've just been fortunate to be able to write these songs based on my experience, and maybe, a book at some point will further dig into that stuff.
I'd read it. Oh my God! It's my, it's everybody listening. It's all of our childhoods. It's the people that you were friends with are the people that we were imaginary friends with. Artificial friends with as we watched movies and television. I can only imagine you've got some amazing stories.
It'll be pure gossip, I promise.
That's fantastic. We want a signed copy for the next pledge drive. Can you tell us anything about the screenplay genre? I mean, is it drama? Is it fiction? Is it comedy? What is it?
It's a tragedy, but it's also a comedy.
Awesome.
Yeah, and yeah,
Is it coming to you easy? Are you finding
Yes.
that you have facility for this? I can only imagine you. I know you have a way with words. You have a way with expressing yourself. I can only imagine that it's not something difficult for you.
No, the hardest part was finding the app that I could somehow get on my phone to then write on my phone while being on the road. But beyond that, it seems to be flowing quite well, and I'm almost done. So,
Nice.
yeah.
What did Hemingway say? The hardest part about writing is applying butt to chair.
Yes. Which I'm just reading A Movable Feast right now.
Oh, wow.
Which is absolutely incredible, and sort of as inspiration as well, because it was, his posthumous memoir about Paris in the 20s. That was sort of put together by his wife at the time, and then they released a version that was like truer to his draft before he passed. But it's good to get it down on the page because you forget these things.
Yeah.
Even if I don't release or publish any of this stuff, I want to get it down because I don't want those memories to go away because it all happened and it's outrageous.
Yeah. So we've made some news this afternoon. Number one, Jenny Lewis working on a screenplay. Number two, a memoir sometime after that in the offing. And number three, there is a very, very, very special guest at her concert at the Observatory on December 6th. Tickets are waiting right now. We've got a couple of pairs left, $120. And you'd pay that much if you got them online. In this instance, we have the tickets. We'll give them to you. We get the money to continue our operations here, and you get to go see Jenny Lewis and her special guest in concert. That would be very, very cool. Once again, thank you so much for coming by and telling people, proselytizing for public radio, because we couldn't do it without the advocacy of people like you who really know how important it is. You coming by, it just means the world to us.
As an independent artist, we made our records at home in the 90s, and we got in the van and we drove all over the country, and without the support of public radio, I would not be here today. So support independent artists, support great, real music. I mean, we were just making stuff from our hearts that was totally unfiltered. So it's so very important. Donate what you can. Even if it's $5, that will be of great help. And if Ringo's doing it, I mean...
Yeah, if you donate $5, it becomes 10 thanks to Ringo and Barbara. So that's pretty. But how do you? You can't just pick up the phone and say, "Yeah, Ringo, will you drum on my record?" I would imagine that's a pretty limited conduit. I won't even ask how you find yourself in his circle, but. Do you ever look around when you're in a room like that and like, there's Ringo Starr, there's Hall of Famer Jim Keltner, what's happening right now?
Well, I would never assume that would happen for me, and it certainly was not my idea, but Don was, who played bass on the record, and I'm now on Blue Note Records, which is an incredible honor, having been a huge fan of that label for many, many years. But there was a moment when Jim and Ringo were double drumming together on my song Red Bull and Hennessy.
So great. And you can tell that they're drumming in this. You can tell by the song. You can just hear the energy.
And they did that at Concert for Bangladesh.
Wow.
And I got to be in the room and hear that freight train right there on Vine Street in Hollywood at Capitol Records, home of the Beatles, and I'm in there and it's just me and those guys, and it was just one of the most amazing experiences of my life.
I can only imagine. I love that you end that song. It sounds like a train accident.
It sounds like a digital glitch.
It smashes together, and that's the only way you could end something like that, because you don't want to imagine. It's like the end of The Sopranos. You want your imagination to imagine where it goes from there. Thank you so much for coming in, Jenny. It's been great to meet you. Great to talk about some of the things that are going on in your life. Once again, the new album, it's fantastic. It's called Joy Y'all. You've been hearing Cherry Baby. I heard it on the way in here. I know that Julie played it just a bit ago. And go see the concert. She's going up and down the coast on the 27th of this month in Ventura, and then ending up at the Palladium on the 8th. But that sounds like that show at the Observatory that we've got tickets for on December 6th. That might be the one that you want to drive down to and see. Find your tickets right now on the SoCalSound.org or call at 833-885-8850. Jenny Lewis, thank you so much.
Thank you. What a joy to be here. It's almost Christmas.
It is almost, and we'll have a Christmas song soon enough if she gets to the mall on time. Make your donation now, 833-885-8850 or the SoCalSound.org.